Hi, welcome back to the Jac and Glen channel. I'm Jackie.
And I'm her husband, Glenn.
He's my husband, Glenn.
And before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you miss any of our reviews. Talking about Ready to Love today. Ready to Love Season 7, Episode number 3. I want to talk about Ready to Love. Hey, why don't you come in and join us and discuss Ready to Love? But where you want to get started tonight, the men are in charge.
The
men are in charge, and a lot of things that happen on this episode of Ready to Love, and that we want to talk about. So let's get started.
Yeah, Tommy meets with the men and the guys, the fellas, and it's like, basically, what's the dating scene like in Miami? And, they're like, it's a lot of beautiful women here, but once you get past the beauty, it's not a lot of substance or intellect. That's the issue that they run into. And so one of the guys is even like, it's like a dime a dozen. You can find any pretty girl, but then, from the neck down, but from the neck up is like...
That was your boy Mike.
Hard to... Somebody else said it too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody else said it too. But Tommy gave them a challenge, as he does in other seasons. Like, so go with something that's not your norm. I don't know why that piece of hair looks so long. But go with someone that's not your norm. Go the opposite of what you've been doing. Be creative. Get out your comfort zone. You want to do something that stimulates the mind and keep your libido in check.
Yeah. And keep your stuff in your pants, brother. Keep your stuff straight.
Yeah. So, I don't like that. But I'm going to have to fix that. That's what I go through, y'all. Just saying. So we see LJ takes Looney out. Looney's back in. She's recovered from COVID and everything. And so it's funny because LJ's like, I want to be the one. I'm going to get her back in the loop.
Yeah.
But then Justice later tries to make it like I'm putting her back in the loop. Like he had no idea that LJ had already went on a date with her.
And what was funny was that LJ had been talking to her the whole time that she had COVID. He'd been texting her, checking on her, making sure he was fine. Matter of fact, she said LJ was the only one that asked her for a number.
Yep. At the mixer. And so she said she's excited to go out with him. And this is her first date, period.
Yeah.
And so you brought that up. She said, they talk about what are you looking for in a man. She's like, I'm looking for somebody genuine from the start, and continues that, because sometimes they present themselves like they're being genuine, and then later on I'll be like, oh gosh, so that's not who you were.
No.
And so she's looking for somebody that prioritizes his relationship too. Like, I do these things, but also make me a priority when it comes to your job, or if you got kids or whatever. Make your relationship a priority. And so they had a really good date. He said, I want to be the type of person that the lady I'm with, I make you feel special. And, he was like, we doing a lot of smiling and vibing or whatever. She said, again, I want somebody that makes me feel protected, because she said, I don't have a lot of family. Her mom passed away in 2016, and so that she doesn't have any family. That was like her only family. And he was like, same for me. All my family's in the Virgin Islands. So, I'm here by myself too. So they're both looking for some security in a relationship. And
I thought it was a good connection there, though. I think that that great conversation. You can hear the genuineness between both of them, that they kind of feeling each other. She's called on to LJ because, again, he's the one that showed interest, right? And he's feeling on the Looney because he thought there was a connection the first time they met. And so he wants to pursue that. And I think the conversation was great. He really enjoyed the date. He did. He was like, yo, this is a good date.
She did too. Next we see Zoe getting out of his comfort zone, and he asks Shakira to go out on a date. And she's like, I like him, but we haven't really had any real conversations. She's feeling like the bachelor lifestyle vibe from him or whatever, so she want to really talk to him about that. And basically she got that from the fact that he retired from his regular job, and he still works, but it's on his schedule. He can come and go as he pleases.
And he travels a lot.
Yeah, he does his traveling and stuff. And so she wants to address that, and also how, okay, so I have a kid, how's that going to work with your lifestyle? And so her first thing with him is take your shades off, want to get a little bit, see you and see your eyes so I can really talk to you. And so he does that. And he says in the Ready to Love environment, and also there with Shakira, he was like, I want to be my natural self. I want to be myself, and that's how I'm going to present myself. And so she asked him, how do you feel about somebody that's got kids? And he was like, I don't really have a preference. For if a woman has kids or not, it's just whatever. She was like, but I know you do a lot of traveling, and how does that work?
Okay, one thing he said too, okay, if you have kids, because I have a daughter.
Right.
Because he has a daughter and he doesn't
I think his daughter's older, right?
Yeah, but he has a daughter, and so he said his daughter's an extension of him. Mm-hmm. And so, and that's the same thing she said when she was talking to somebody else, that her son, Prince Amir, they didn't say his name this time, but I'm going to say it, that he is an extension of her. And that, so since he's an extension of her, and she's like, oh, she was kind of smitten, like, oh, he said the same thing I said. I mean, what your true father would say, my child, or a person who has a child, are the extension of you, and so they should be, should treat that as such, because you are a package deal. Mm-hmm. Whether they're grown or not, though. Even a young child or grown, they're grown, you're a package deal. Right.
She acknowledged to him that I had some preconceived notions about how you were, and they talked about the fact that you never asked me for my number. We couldn't. So now finding out, even like LJ and Looney talked about, these people did not exchange numbers. Some people didn't. Yeah. Like, why?
But, I mean, because he said he wasn't, at the time, he wanted, I thought it was a lot of bull.
He said he wanted to see if there was a connection first before he asked for her number. And she was like, what do you need for there to be a connection? If for real, it just need to be a little bit of interest. So were you interested? I guess he was like, I didn't know to be interested because I hadn't really talked to you. So
how do you know you want a number? How you know if there's a connection? Brush should just say, you know what, I didn't ask for your number. Uh-huh. And he tried to go around the bush. He just didn't ask. Zoe, you just didn't ask for a number. call it what it is. You just didn't ask. It is what it is. All right,
But in the end, he was like, yeah, let me get your number. And she was like, I'm still not sure about where I am with him, but it did give me some more clarity. Like, she felt better coming out of it and dealing with Zoe. All right, so the next thing we see is Samson steps out of his comfort zone and takes Sharice out.
Yeah, it's Nene. She's Nene Leaks.
No, I said Meanie.
Oh, Meanie. I thought you said Nene.
No, Meanie.
I'm sorry, Nene.
No. Mean, because it was just like Devin liked about her, but
she mean,
and she came off. I was like, wow, okay. But he takes Sharice out, and they actually did have a good vibe.
Yeah, they had a good vibe.
I was really surprised because her interaction with somebody else was different. But
we're gonna get there.
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh, Meanie, whew. So Samson took Sharice out. He was like, the first time he dealt with her, she was like multitasking and really didn't give him any eye contact, and he didn't really care for that too much. So, but he wanted to give her another chance. And the place where they were, she was like, I'm happy to be meeting you at this location. This was a little ice cream place, but it didn't really look like an ice cream place. And then the way the ice cream came to them is just
like a gourmet spot.
Yeah, it looked real different, but they had a good time, and they had a little toast. They toast their ice cream. They toasted over ice cream. And she even said that he's not her usual type either, but she's interested to see how it's going to go. Mm-hmm. And so, because she wants to get to know him. And he was like, I don't even know how that conversation started, but talking about her shape.
I don't either.
What did he say? I can't remember how that started, but she was like, oh, he asked her, do you work out? Do you work out much? And she was like, no, this is my natural shape. I don't really do anything. I'm shaped like my mom, and, that's just the way it is. And so he commented on her hair being curly, and he said, my grandmother had hair like that. And so she asked about his family, and he shared that his dad had passed away in a car accident. But even though his mom and dad came from different backgrounds, how they were able to come together, and they had 5 kids, and they had a good relationship up until the end. Before the dad passed, they was kind of strained. But she asked, how's your mom feel about relationship, whatever. He was like, oh, my mom would love for me to get married and have her some grandkids. She'd be excited about that. And
like he talked a little bit too about his mom being the Christian, his dad, I forgot what his dad was, but how their love was true love.
Right, that's why I said getting past their differences.
Yeah, but I want to make sure the differences was known. It was religious differences.
Yeah, religious differences, and then different cultures. Remember, before, his mom is black, his dad was Persian.
Right.
So yeah, for sure. But both of them said, they had a really easy convo, had a nice interaction. She said, I see he shares some of the values and interests that I have. And both of them was like, we like to make a heart-to-heart connection. And he said the date was fun, it was balanced, it was a good vibe. And he was excited that he asked her out because, again, it's out of his comfort zone, like Tommy told him to do. It's not somebody he would usually date. All right, so then next we see Mike has a group date. They go trapeze swinging.
Swinging on the trapeze.
Trapeze swinging. And so on the date, there's Swayze and Justice. And then, of course, Mike when it comes to the guys. As far as the ladies go, which later what happened, I was like, well, it was uneven anyway. What did you think was going to happen? But we got Looney, April, Kayla, and Sharice. So it's a little lopsided. You're missing a guy. So what's going to happen is what would happen. But April said when she came in there, she was like, oh, this right in my lane. I'm going to hop on this trapeze. I'm athletic. She forgot. She was like, forget them guys. I'm up here swinging. It don't even matter.
April forgot that she was there with a group of people. And she was like, yo, I'm going for mine. Are we swinging, yo? She threw them legs up there and got her feet, hands up, arms up there. Next thing you know, April standing up there. April went all in. She's like, yo, I'm having to have fun with this.
She did. And Justice was just dangling. He was like, I'm not trying to be a part of Ringling Brothers. No, I don't want to do that.
It was like a party pooper, though.
They laughed at him like, really? That's what you're going to do? He was just like...
Had his feet swinging on... He was on the tippy toes. So
A mess. But Mike sits down and he wants to have a chat with Kayla. You know, he talks about how it's good to see her. And, like, he didn't really want to step on no toes. That's why he didn't really come in that direction. She was like, don't do that. Don't worry about nobody's toes.
Come after me, though.
You know, if you interested, you know, come talk to me or whatever. And so,
I like Kayla. She's straightforward, though.
Yeah, so like I said, people had kind of paired off, and April was there by herself. But hey, you was swinging on the trapeze. That's what you want to do. But April was like, I'm going to insert myself into this. And so she comes and interrupts Kayla and Mike's conversation. And Kayla was like, ugh, you know, like, gosh. And, like, April really bogarted.
But that's why I say she really bogarted. I mean, if you saw Mike was over there grabbing his hand on her booty. He had his hand, go back and watch it. He had his hand on her butt, so he was entertaining, had his arm all around her. She was up close. It
almost looked like she was sitting on his lap, but then another angle, it looked like she was just sitting real close.
Now, see, if Mike wanted to not be rude, but if he really was into Kayla, he should have he should have moved over.
Right.
But he stayed bundled up with April. Now, I don't know if he did that. I don't know if he didn't know what to do.
I don't think she didn't really give him no room to move.
If he would have moved over, it would have gave her a signal. But I digress. It would have gave her a signal like, not now.
Well, I don't even think it was so. I don't think he had a problem with her interrupting the conversation, like, because you're there to talk to people. Yeah. And like I said, the numbers were uneven anyway. But then it wasn't until after that he got uncomfortable when she started like. Grilling him, the way you presented it at the brunch was this, and why you didn't do that, and she said the brunch he made her think it wasn't an option for them to connect, and so she wanted to ask why, like what's going on, and just the way she was grilling him, he was like, man, it got intense. And Kayla even said, I felt uncomfortable. And she said, thankfully, Swayze came and saved me, rescued me, because it was crazy. But, like, April was going in on my man Mike, and he was like, whoa,
Yeah, she was going.
She was like, are you interested or not? And he like, look, I'm not feeling that aggression. And we ain't at the point, like, where I'm feeling, what are we doing? Mm-hmm. And so... that's where it was with that. Justice and Looney were chatting, and they talked about the trapeze, and he was like, "Yeah, I ain't never do no trapeze before, but I did watch." Yeah. So that's where he was, and he said he wanted to get her. I remember LJ took her on a date first, but Justice says I wanted to get her back in the process and talk to her, and so she's coming back from COVID, and they talk about how's the love train going, and she was like, it's going, and all in all, they said they had a real good conversation. So then we go back to Kayla, because we know Swayze came and got her, rescued her from that interaction with Mike and April, and they said their connection is growing. She's like, he's looking better and better to me.
Yeah, he's growing on her.
Yeah. I like Swayze's style. I like his swag.
His tight shirts.
That was a whole joke too. I forgot to say that. Tommy joked on Swayze's shirt when he came into the men's lounge the first time, and he said something later too. But he was like, he likes Kayla, you know, she's attractive, and she comes off like, I know I am, like, it's confident. It's not really cocky, but he was like, you know, she's attractive. She come off like she attractive, and she asked him like, what is it that you need to improve or whatever, and as he's thinking, she was like, oh, okay, Swayze's perfect. Swayze don't need to change nothing. So he was like, no, I'm not saying that. He was like, there's always room for improvement. I'm always working on myself. So he said his thing was he needs to improve on saving more money. And, you know, he likes to have a good time and have a good time. And she was like, oh, okay, I get it. You want to work hard, play hard. He was like, yeah, I need to do better about that. But they had a nice little interaction. It was cool.
Good interaction for them. I mean, everybody likes Swayze. Everybody likes Swayze. Swayze got that kind of vibe, that feel that, I don't want to say he's the homeboy, but he's the dude that everybody likes in school. Yeah. You know, he's that dude that all the girls like him.
Yeah. So then we see Mike have a conversation with Sharice. This is what I was talking about. Oh, he said, I want to just move past the interaction with April and, you know, just go talk to somebody else. Well, if April was too aggressive, I mean, Sharice was aggressive too, just in a different kind of way.
It started off good, though. It started off a little good until she got to this whole kids situation.
Yeah, they haven't had a real chance to get a connection. Sharice says we've been cool and just cordial with each other. But she said in her vignette, you know, the divorce and the kids scared her. And, you know, she called it baggage. And she actually said that to him, too. And he was like, why I got to be baggage? So me being married before and now I'm divorced and have kids, that's baggage.
And my kids being baggage.
And she was like, well, no, it's not a negative. And he's like, how's that not a negative? And he was like, well, look at you. He didn't say it like that.
He was like, 45 with no kids.
He was like, you 45 with no kids. She was like, I'm 43 without any kids. And he was like, regardless. So if me being married before and divorced and got 3 kids is baggage to you and that's a red flag. To me, it's a red flag that you 43 and you ain't never been married and don't have no kids. And she was like, I just don't have kids because it hasn't happened yet. And
what she said was, don't be messing with my values. As if her values and morals is the reason that he was married don't have any kids.
And had his kids.
He don't have her value and morals are the reason he don't have any kids. That she don't have any kids. And I know that's such a jab because how can you say he don't have no values? Like this was like a high school sweetheart type of thing. All his kids about her, you know, they wasn't married for no short time. And you trying to say I got values, but he do too. Well, I'm agree with Mikey. We might have to do something a little later. It's a double standard because a woman can be divorced and have kids. Matter of fact, a woman can be a baby mama and have 3 different kids by 3 different dads, and no one call her kids baggage. It's a man has 3 kids by his ex-wife who he had been with forever, and is baggage for him?
No, I don't agree.
I don't agree with that. You can't call that man kids baggage, and you can't do it in that way. She was totally wrong.
But her thing was, like, she's trying to explain, and then she was like, don't over-talk me. That's my choice, that I want it that way. And basically, then she said, you know, I just don't want a guy who's been married before and has kids. Honey, when I tell you, you just narrowed your pool so small. At 40-something...
No, see, that pool just shrunk. 40-something with no kids.
You might can get the not married. You might could get the not kids, but the not married with the no kids together.
Not in her age bracket.
Nope.
Not in her age bracket at all.
Nope. Nah. So yeah, that interaction did not go well. Even though her and Samson had a good date, this did not go.
Didn't go well.
So then we see Randall. He's calling himself, you know, getting out of his comfort zone. When he goes out with Trinika, even though we saw him and Trinika walk in at Sharice's party.
Yeah.
But she, you know, they said they had some good conversations before, but it hasn't been really long conversations. So she was glad to see him. And Trinika did a whole lot of flirting.
She was flirting
with, you know, she was a little bit extra for Randall. And
everybody like Randall. And I know you don't see. I know you don't see why, but
I don't get it.
I know you don't get it, but
nothing. I mean, he not my cup of tea. Somebody cup of tea apparently, but I mean, first of all, obviously he's not my cup of tea because first of all, I got a husband. But I'm saying if I had a choice, like he wouldn't be my choice. So, I would pick him on there. But anyway, so. You know, he asked her how her wrist was doing. She was like, it's doing better. I have to go get re-examined. I'm going to have to get x-rays. Well, what if I feel uncomfortable? Would you be there to hold my hand? Here, let me hold your hand.
Yeah.
All is this. I was like, Ooh, Trinika, she really like Randall. Ew, I mean, Go ahead, Trinika. But, you know, he asked her about her last relationship, and she said, my last relationship was in 2019. And so over the last year or so, you know, I just did a lot of healing work and self-reflection. Mm-hmm. You know, I did a lot of solo dates. And he was like, what, solo dates? She was like, yeah, I date myself. He was like, how'd that work out for you? And she was like, it's been working out well. You know, just enjoying myself. When she held his hand, it was like, oh, my hand is sweaty. You know, sorry about my hand. And he said in his vignette, I was nervous, but she helped calm me down. And so that helped. And he said he wants to go out with her again. What's she looking for in a relationship? She's looking for that spiritual and emotional connection. Of course, the physical, but spiritual and emotional. And so while they were sitting there, in a partnership, while sitting there, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, hey, come over here closer to me. I was like, okay, Trinika.
I like to get
I'm talking about what they said.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me to get closer to you. Oh, I'm sorry.
You can't get no close. If you get any closer to me, you'll be on my lap. You're going to be on my lap. But anyway. So they had a good date, and it was cool. I actually could see them together. Yeah. But, like I said, it's not my cup of tea. So the next day, we see Mike and Swayze. Swayze set this one up. It's archery. So it's Mike, Swayze, Katie, and Brandy. Yeah. And, you know, they out there shooting arrows or whatever. The girls shoot theirs. Okay. The girls shoot theirs, kind of have a little, let me see what you got. Let me see what you got. And then, so Swayze and Mike shoot their arrows. And Mike makes a comment, I almost got my arrow in the same place. Mm-hmm. And he was like, what you think about that? You know, that's consistent. That's what it's about. Consistency or whatever. Consistency. Uh-huh.
He can play it, though. Smooth line, though. That's a good line.
Yeah, he was like, and that's what you want. You want consistency. And so, with that, Katie was like, well, speaking of which, let me sit over here and talk to you. Let me talk to you for a minute. Oh, that didn't go good either.
No, it didn't. She rough. Mike just been getting it by everybody today, right? It was a thing, pick on Mike week. It was a consistent thing, pick on Mike. So
yeah, she was like, okay, how long do you stay in a relationship if it's not going good or whatever? And he talks about, you know, maybe about a year you try to work it out. You know, basically that's what happened with his. You know, his marriage, you kind of grow apart or whatever. Yeah. And when it's not working, it's like, how long do you keep it? He was like, you know, about a year. Katie wanted to talk to him about her reluctance in dealing with him, and you know, their interactions haven't been the best before then. But you know, she wants to take time and sit and talk to him.
But she's
and
always,
basically,
I'm not about to say real quick. She is one who's very outspoken. Remember, she was outspoken about Devin. It was and his kids, and so she's outspoken now about the situation with Mike. Mm-hmm. So she's very she speaks her mind. Yeah, and it didn't on this episode. It didn't work. It didn't work out for her.
But she was like, you know, they talk about her job or whatever. She said financial stability is important to her because I work in that field, in that area. Yeah. But you know, it's not all that she's tied into. It's not just about money when it comes to her or whatever. And he was like, yeah, because you know, you seem a little uptight or whatever. Why he say that? She was like, I'm uptight. What you mean I'm uptight? What do you mean when you say I'm uptight? And he was like, you know, like uptight. Like you don't have fun or whatever.
You don't feel like you stiff.
Yeah, you stiff. And
you stiff. You like, ugh.
And she was like, well, no, I'm not. You know, I'm actually free-spirited. I'm not like a a-hole. You know, I'm like bougie. I'm not picky or whatever. I'm actually free-spirited.
While she was drinking the Gatorade, had already eaten a rib.
Yeah. And so she was like, well, you could actually be uptight. And he was like, well, I'm sorry. You know, if I took it the wrong way, I'm about calling you uptight or whatever. Mm-hmm. But after that, like, she went in. She was like, you could be uptight too. Like, you an introvert. I see we gonna have to pull it out of you. I'm gonna have to da-da-da-da-da. And he was like, nah. He's like telling her, nah, that's not me at all. Like, you got me off. But she kept running with it. And he was like, I don't really want to hear that. And if I'm not talking, he said, basically, I'm not talking because I don't want to hear what you
gotta say.
I don't want to hear what you gotta say. And I was like, ooh, well, that was kind of rude. Mike, but he didn't say it to her, but he sent his vignette. And she was like, oh, we're going to have to pull you out. I'm going to call you Mike the Turtle. And he was like, like, no, I'm really fun and I like to talk, but she not getting it. And anyway, Brandy comes in and kind of saves the day. Mm-hmm. And so we know how Brandy and Mike vibe, and that's what he said too. He was like, I was trying to switch it up, a little bit with the connections or whatever, but I'm just gonna focus. I'm gonna focus on what I already got.
Right, but that was the assignment. The assignment was go to your opposite. He had to go to somebody that he wouldn't normally go to, and she's not.
No Sharice, no Cadian.
No Sharice, no Cadian. No. That is totally done. It's opposite. We done. Hey, Mike, cut those two off your list. Crossed off.
Yeah, I'm really getting a lot of Clifton and Joy vibes when it comes to Mike and Brandy. Oh, because what Brandy says is I'm feeling Mike. I've been feeling Mike. He's my type. He's my tall, guy. Dark, handsome. Just I like his personality and everything. And Mike said that too. It's like she said, but I'm trying to get that deeper connection. And so Mike was like, I like Brandy. She makes me nervous, but in a good kind of way. He's like, I'm intrigued to find out what's up under all of that. Not her clothes, but underneath the surface. Like, cause I'm feeling that. They feeling each other. So I'm getting a lot of Joy and Clifton. Because Joy and Clifton, they zoned in on each other. But not like Camille and Cornelius. But they zoned in on each other. It's like, why am I looking at somebody else when I'm feeling
It's all about love. It's all about love, right? It's all about love. If I zone in on that person in the first couple of days or 3 weeks, why not be with that person? Why I understand going through the process, filtering everybody out. But when you start crossing people off your list and you still there, go all in. And that's what Mike is at now. I told you, this episode was all about Mike.
The one thing I liked that he said, he was like, oh, you didn't even greet me. You didn't even greet me. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. And he grabs her up, picks her feet off the floor. And I was like, oh, them two? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, when you want somebody, you do that. Right.
Yeah. Right. He said he looking for someone to grow on an intellectual level. And what she looking for? She's looking for someone to have. You're so silly. We trying to get through this, guys.
We got something. I'm gonna stop playing. We got somewhere to go. So.
For her, I'm looking for somebody that has my back, that stand beside me, and look out for me. He was like, so you never really been in a relationship like that with someone like that. And basically underneath that, he was like, I could do that for you.
I could do that for you.
I could be that for you.
I could be that guy.
He says, you're beautiful and funny, and I'm looking at you like, why ain't nobody take you serious? Yeah. Like, what's the problem? She was like, oh, you try to say I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. But I think, people just don't know what to do with me. I'm thinking probably she's so cool, they probably look at her like a homegirl.
Friend zone. And they don't know what she's like down to earth. I think you need that sometimes. I think you need that friend. Most people marry their friend.
Yeah. He said she gets him. And she knows how to talk to me. And not like the other ladies. See, he was like, so that's what I like about Brandy. She knows what to say to me and how to talk. Not whatever else everybody else is doing. So then we see Katie and she leaves and she goes in there where Swayze is shooting the arrows. And he was like, oh, you was looking for me? You was looking for me? I was in here. I know you missed me. She was like, I ain't miss you, boy. A lot of that kind of flirting. Like, ain't nobody worried about you.
That's her man. Let her be with Katie. That's her man. Katie and Swayze great.
Oh,
Brandy and Mike are good. Call it a day. Hey, we opposites, we realize.
And he was like, I've been here shooting arrows. And and he was like, look where I got it at. She was like, Brandy was standing right here. She might have did that. And he was like, nah, I did that. So they did they've been talking every day. We found out they've been talking every day. And they've been really vibing, so they trying to get a little bit deeper with that too.
I like that matchup. So
yeah, I do too. All right, so the guys meet up with Tommy, and of course he wants to know. He makes his joke about where's Swayze at with his tight shirt. And he came in, he was like, bruh, you can buy a medium shirt. You ain't always got to get small. It's a running joke. So who you feeling? What connections? Were there any new connections unexpected? Samson talked about how he connected with Sharice. did a one-on-one date. They opened up more with the communication. Randall talked about how he went out with Trinica. And, you know, he was like, yes, he'd been intrigued. It was good to meet one-on-one with her. He wants to dig a little bit deeper. LJ talks about how he had took Looney on a one-on-one date. And, you know, he's peeling back some layers. And, you know, she's up on the radar, you know. And here come Justice want to cut across. LJ was like, he cutting across me. He was like, yeah, I took her aside at the group date, you know, want to bring her back in the process. And then LJ's like, bro, I already did that. Shut up.
Nobody likes LJ. I'm sorry. Nobody. I don't think anybody likes
Justice.
Justice. Nobody's like Justice.
Yeah. They asked who you not feeling. Zoe was like, well, I'm not feeling Brandy only because I never really talked to her. I haven't had any conversations. Nothing wrong with her. I just haven't talked to her. Mike said, I ain't feeling April. Samson said he not feeling April either. They haven't. There's nothing great there. Not a good conversation. You know, it's like you be coming off too hard, bruh. Mm-hmm. Then LJ said, I'm not really feeling Sharice. Swayze said it's not Trinica. He just don't really see any romance potential there. Justice said he not feeling Cadian because he was like, what you don't want to do is poke the bear. And she tried to poke the bear. How she poked the bear? Don't send me no DM at 1 in the morning.
Tommy said she sent you a DM?
And he was like, I didn't say that, but I said that. I was like, how's that poking the bear?
How's that poking the bear? Unless
you're talking about trying to booty call me.
Right.
You know, you trying to poke the bear like that. When I think poke the bear, I'm thinking anger me. Not get me aroused.
But if someone sends you a DM, don't mean you got to answer 1 o'clock in the morning. What you doing up?
But he said
your phone go off? Your notifications go off?
Yeah, just ignore it.
Ignore it.
Then Mike talked about how he wasn't feeling Cadian. You know, I felt like I was in an interview. I was being interrogated. It made me uncomfortable. And then she was grilling me while she was eating. You sitting here eating your food, asking me 50-minute questions.
Eating your ribs and stuff.
Yeah. So Tommy was like, okay, so we know who's on that was on Chopping Block.
Who's on the Chopping Block? This is wrong network.
No. But you know what you got to do. So one lady, you're going to tell her, go talk to her, tell her step her game up. The other one, you got to tell them they're out the game.
Yeah.
So LJ takes April out, and Swayze meets Cadian. And when Cadian walks in, she says something about his shirt. And he was like, did Tommy put you up to this?
Did Tommy tell you to say this?
Did your frat brother put you up to this? I don't usually like short men. If you don't know where that's from, but anyway. Did your big brother put you up to this? It's school days.
It's school days. I'm about to say, help somebody out.
It's school
We got a different age group.
It's school days.
It's school days.
Yeah, it's school days. But anyway. And so I'm just going to cut to the chase. LJ talks to April and is like, you know, they like that you're a breath of fresh air, you know, we're feeling you or whatever, but it's the same things that we like about you, that it's a mix of emotions.
Right.
For her, you know, that the guys like that, but LJ's telling her, okay, you got to tone it down.
Tone it down a little bit.
They was like, they're not getting the romantic side from you, they just getting that. And so they tell her she's not ready to love.
Which really kind of goes. I'm gonna go back a little bit to when they were doing the rope thing, because everybody had paired off and they left April.
Right, which I said.
I'm going back.
Was uneven.
It was uneven, but nobody even tried to interact with her that we saw. So, which in my mind would have led to her believe, you know what, I might be on a chopping block, which would have made her open up some more and try to get to know the guys, but it didn't. It led to April being on the chopping block.
I think she tried to get to know. It's just the way she went about it. She just didn't come across.
Right, because she was in love with Mike, and her and Mike didn't kind of.
Yeah.
It didn't work out. So,
and like I said, Swayze met with Katie, and so you already know that she's still in the game, ready to love. But he was like, bro, you intimidating the guys, you interrogating them. He was like, I mean, some of the guys, most of the guys, he said, well, all the guys, but except for me.
Except for me. But Swayze likes that, though. I mean, Swayze doesn't mind that. And so what happened was, he doesn't mind the interrogation type. You know, ask questions.
Well, I guess she really don't do it. She didn't really do that to him. They got a nice little banter, and you know they were joking and playing with each other. That's how they go about it. So he don't really give her a chance to.
I've been out the dating game for so long. I've been out dating 20 years, going on 21.
Praise God.
21 years, right?
Praise God.
I've been out dating long. So how do you date without asking questions? I mean,
but I guess it's the way you asking, and you know, you grill a dude or you sit and talk to him. So you know. You be a little bit softer, because he was like, you mean.
Yeah.
You need to lighten up and be nice. She was like, what you mean? I'm being nice. Yeah. They should learn how to lead. And he was like, sis, come on. I'm about to tell you can still stay. You ready to love, but I'm going to need you to fix that.
I need you to fix that.
I'm going to need you to fix that. But yeah, he was like, be more open, be more nice. Don't be an island girl. And she was like, don't do that. Yeah. Don't stereotype me in the island girl thing. You know, that I'm all rough and stuff. She was like, I'm not mean, I'm just a strong person. But he says, you know, you still ready to love. And so she was like, she felt, one thing I want to say is, she was thrown off because when she came in, she was like, Swayze awfully calm, you know, I usually like this. So that kind of alerted her something was up too. But she said she's relieved that she's still in, and she says, you know, it was a note to myself that I need to tone it down a little bit and open up more. So there you go.
There you go. Hey, let us know what you think about this episode of Ready to Love. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you miss any of our reviews. Thanks for watching, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.